Live on a Monday night, 8:30 Central Time. Welcome into the Broadway Shuffle with Conrad and Zyler. I am Brennan Baxter, and portal season is off and running again for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. So much news. We had to join you guys again. If you are tuning in live on YouTube, make sure to comment. We will be answering as many questions as we can. We want to be as engaged as possible with you guys here this evening. If you are not able to catch us during live, we will be releasing this episode and you can listen tomorrow morning or afternoon as well. Gentlemen, the Red Raiders, man, continue to dominate portal season. Zyler, I think you said yesterday what'd you call Texas Tech? The kings of the portal was, I think, your quote.
It's a quote from Red River Sports. But if you come at the king, you best not miss. And Lane Kiffin tried to come at the king, and he missed. And now you're stuck with Sam Leavitt. My best regards to you, good sir. Enjoy your time with our good friend Sam. Yeah, I wanted to shout out, man. We've already got a ton of people in the chat. Brendan Simpson is here. Greg Biggs is here. Somebody's got something to say to Conrad. Jim Garcia is here, man. The crew is already locked and loaded. We're ready to go.
We're ready to roll, man.
The Abu Noob 22. I think Aaron, you've had that email since what, middle school? Maybe earlier than that?
We know who he is.
Yeah. I know exactly who he is. And guys, he went to Baylor.
A Baylor guys in the chat.
Baylor.
Hey, they need some hope.
Should
they
we
need
go
some
in
hope.
on Baylor
they
right
got
now?
a bandwagon any way they can, Conrad.
Yeah. I mean, and what better school to bandwagon right now than Texas Tech with the portal all the way it is?
I would totally agree.
I thought, and before we get into some of the portal talk, I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to see if you guys have had the same experience. I was listening to, Chris and Aaron Dickens on Red River Sports earlier today, and they were talking about how they've seen more people, like, not bandwagon, but like, my kid always used to love watching Tech sports. And this season, he would ask me every single day, what time's the game? What time's the game? What time's the game? When is our next game? Who do we play? I want to go to and it's just so much enthusiasm for the team. And he felt like it created a new fan, like he was actually a fan of the team. And I experienced that too. I had family members that I wouldn't say are huge sports fans, and they were all in it. I mean, I had family members talking to me like, hey man, are we getting Brendan Sorsby? I was like, I didn't know you were that deep in the weeds. I don't know if that's been your experience, but I think there's something to be said for this season creating a new generation of really passionate Red Raiders in a way that I think the 2008 season did, especially for me and Brennan. And somehow Conrad got converted into a fan during the Cliff era. So, I mean, he's a better warrior than we are. Has that been your experience kind of with that, more people riding with the Red Raiders?
Oh, yeah. I think completely. Winning obviously brings people in that typically wouldn't watch. When you have games like BYU at home and College Game Day and you're on the national stage more often than not, I think the average fan, like my aunt, for example, would tune into our show and follow BYU and Texas Tech. And I just think that it brings a lot of people in when you are winning football games. It's kind of like basketball, right? I mean, a lot of people probably weren't huge Texas Tech basketball fans between the years of 2009 and 2016. And then you become a little more nationally relevant. And all of a sudden, here's basketball games selling out like crazy and people following March Madness. So winning definitely helps that. But I also think the excitement of Joey McGuire and what this team and this culture has built, where you feel proud to be a Red Raider. You feel like you want to get invested into the school. I think President Skuvanek and Kirby and obviously Cody, all these guys have done such a good job at being aligned that it makes you proud to be a Texas Tech fan. So definitely I've seen that. I have people text me all the time, and having a podcast about Texas Tech, I think definitely makes more people text you. It's like, dude, I'm no expert, man. Like I'm getting texts about, hey, do you know anything about this? And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't pretend to be a reporter like some people do. So it's definitely interesting. But Conrad, I'm sure you get a lot of it too.
Yeah, and if you're listening this far in, you have not subscribed yet, make sure to do that on YouTube. Helps us grow, helps more people find the show, Red Raiders or new Red Raiders. I think it's interesting for me looking at this. I mean, it's, obviously winning is a lot more fun than losing, to state the obvious. Like people gravitate towards that, whether you're just a general college sports fan or whatnot. I mean, it's something that you definitely look forward to. And when you have a school that has done what Texas Tech has done, from a football perspective, but also thinking about basketball and softball as well. Like it's an exciting time to be a Red Raider. And when there's so many schools that it seems cannot or will not, or for whatever reason are not figuring it out the same way Texas Tech is, just makes you really grateful to be a Red Raider. I know, and for all of us and many of you in the comments, let us know how long you've been following Texas Tech sports, but it's something that, like, we've seen a lot of a lot of more people jump on the bandwagon because it is a school that, I mean, we got to be honest, has not experienced a ton of success in football and even basketball, except for recently. And so it's fun. It's a good time to be a Road Raider. I think this is the golden age of Texas Tech athletics.
I would totally agree.
Another thing, and I know we'll talk portal a lot, and I did want to get to some of the comments here, but did y'all see that clip of Bud Elliott today talking about Joey McGuire? Anybody see that on the Cover 3 show? Where he was talking, the rumored amount for Sorsby was $5 million. And I don't have any inside scoop on what Sorsby's getting paid. There's probably a handful of people that actually know that particular number. And he was talking about, people are saying that's insane. And he brought up the NFL model where there's hundreds of players that get paid more than the highest coach in the NFL. And it was an interesting point, but he kind of took a jab at Joey where he's like, if Joey left Texas Tech, I don't feel like you'd really downgrade Tech as an institution and as a football team. He's like, my opinion of them really wouldn't change. And I think I'd push back on that a lot. I know that's a Tech homer take. I think Joey's done a great job building and galvanizing a lot of that. But it is interesting to think, is the era of players getting paid more than head coaches, is that coming soon? Like, are head coaches' salaries so inflated, like 10, $13 million, where when you think about, like, would you rather have Jim Knowles or would you rather have David Bailey? Like, what does that look like? And it was actually kind of an interesting point, even if it came with some shots at Joey, which I didn't agree. The era of players potentially getting paid more than coaches, I think, is coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, that will be an interesting thing to see what happens. I mean, in that front, when you take shots at a guy that, I mean, now we've got the NIL conversation, all those things, but when you take shots at a guy like Joey, who has pretty much single-handedly since he got here, along with obviously help of others, but what he's done for Texas Tech football since he got here is nothing short of amazing. It's the best start for a head coach in Texas Tech history, and it's not even close. It's just something that when you take shots at a guy like that means so much to us. I don't know. I think that's kind of tone deaf. And again, like we said on our last show, national media, they say things to get clicks, to get comments, because that's how they get paid. And doesn't mean they always actually mean what they say, because takes like that don't really resonate with me a whole lot. But again, I am a Tech homer, so that's part of it.
I think I see what he's saying, Zyler, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that
points.
it's like Josh Allen's getting paid $50 million a year. Mahomes is getting paid $50 million a year. I mean, Andy Reid's getting paid what, $9 million? Like, I totally understand. Like, the point that he's making is how college football is becoming more and more like the NFL every day. Is that going to adapt as well? I don't know if we're there yet. It's confusing too, because there's not really a market.
Sorsby makes more than the coordinators.
Right.
Sorsby's going to make more than your coordinators.
Yes. And like, the market wasn't really set at all. And then Bryce Underwood from Michigan gets a $10 million, deal to go to Michigan. And you're kind of like, whoa, like, I thought this market was like near $1 million for players. Now we're seeing $10 million deals. And so it's changing every year. And I mean, we probably won't be far off from a freshman quarterback signing a 4-year, $20 million deal to stay in college or something. Like, we're getting close to
that happening in 4 years, maybe?
For sure. Yeah. So it is going to be interesting. And does the coach have that much say? Like, if they want to go to Auburn, for example, like, does it matter if Brian Harsin's the coach, or does it matter if Hugh Freeze is the coach, or did Auburn pay Cam Coleman, who we're about to get to in a second, just enough money to go to Auburn regardless of who's coaching the ball? And so I get what he's saying. It's just with Joey, he makes so much of Texas Tech.
And the thing that I always say about Joey, I think I would view Joey differently if the NIL was always like this. He had 3 winning seasons in the Big 12 in a row. When you had not had a winning season in the Big 12 since what, 20?
A long time.
It had been 10 plus years.
Was it 2013, I think?
Yeah.
You went 7-5. I think you went 4-5 in the Big 12. I don't remember. Somebody fact check me in the comments on that, when our last Big 12 winning season was. And he did it 3 times in a row when you were very much at the same level of resources of your roster. And I think that, to me, has always spoken to, Joey can do this without the resources being at, the top of the conference. If Joey had always had, hey, this is the best roster budget every single year, I think I'd be more sympathetic to that point. But he hasn't been that way. And other guys I wanted to shout out in the chat, and Connor, I want to get to you. Kim Coulter joins us, always one of our favorites. Kim, thank you for being here. Always appreciate it. And then JC out there talking about Phil Knight money. It really is interesting. And I think you are, and I hope you are, I think the program comps that a lot of people give us, and I'd take all of these, is Clemson, Oregon. Those are the two teams that you kind of see non-traditional powers that rose up. And I think you're more Oregon than you are Clemson, if I had to pick one.
Mhm.
And that's a program that I think you could very much aspire to be. Anyway, sorry, that was just a kind of a side note.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting too, talking about the NIL thing. And, if Brian Harson's there or Hugh Freeze is there, thinking of Auburn for an example, do you just pay these guys to come?
Totally.
Texas Tech does not do what Texas Tech is doing if Joey's not the coach. Like if you had a dud of a coach, you're not doing this. You're just not. And so the coach, that's why for me, the coach still does make a huge difference and always will.
I think that's a great point. Now money obviously matters here too.
Well,
It's a
but you
priority,
don't have the
but
investment. The donors
right.
are not investing if Matt Wells is your head coach.
I was talking to a guy about this earlier because I was thinking about how does leadership align to this point? And I think we forget, like, remember when Texas Tech first announced that the Matador Club was paying every athlete $25,000, and no other school had come up with that yet.
And that was a huge deal.
And that was a huge deal. And then James Blanchard is like the first general manager on the scene. And people are like, there's general managers now in college football. What are we talking about? And
Totally.
Texas Tech from top down, and we had President Skuvanek on for the first time. He was talking about this, that they saw this years in advance, prepared for it, and were aligned, got their guy in Joey. And then from top down, these guys have been completely on the same page about what they need to do to compete in the modern era of college football. And they were one of the first programs to do it. So I think we're just seeing what that looks like. And other people are shocked. They're like, this must just all be money. And it's like, yes, money plays a role in this. But the fact is that Tech's leadership was so far ahead of the game and better prepared for this with a guy like Cody Campbell backing them, but they were ready to go. And that's why they're scouting, the recruiting, Blanchard, Joey, even with new coordinators coming in with Wood and Matt Leftwich, you were able to just take it and run. And last portal season, you're doing the same thing, if not more, because now you're adding guys like Brendan Sorsby. You didn't have to add a quarterback last year, but when you had the top portal quarterback, that's a big deal. And you're getting edges that we'll talk about in a second, and you're linked to a guy in Cam Coleman who's arguably the most talented guy in the entire portal. This was the best receiver coming out of high school 2 years ago. That's not all just luck of the draw and one billionaire with a bunch of cash. That is complete alignment from head coach to president to donors. And I just think not enough people are understanding of that in the national media.
Hey, don't forget Kirby Hocutt.
I said Kirby. Did I not shout out Kirby? I thought I did.
He has not gotten enough flowers. So think about where the softball program is. Think about where the women's basketball program is right now. Best start in program history. Softball's the best it's ever been. Football's the best it's ever been. Basketball's on the best run they've ever had. You continue to win national titles in track and field. Your golf team is great.
It's across the board.
It's legitimately almost every program except maybe volleyball. That's like the only one that I'm like, you're not nationally relevant.
And look at the Lady Raiders. They're 17. What are they? 17-0 this year, and they're ranked. And so it's kind of like it's happening. It's just trickling down. We saw the love softball did when you got Canada over here, and so it's making other people that are passionate about other sports want to buy into those as well and say, wait, what about softball? And that's because of the leadership and Kirby Hocutt. Maybe I didn't shout him out, Conrad, because he still hasn't been on the Broadway Shuffle yet. We've had on Skuvanek and we've had on
Kirby. Will be soon. We'll get him.
We got to get Kirby on soon, and then I'll give him his flowers. But it is
you gotta
crazy.
tell him that.
Yeah, I will. I'll tell him. Yeah, and then the big Lubbock 1042. What about the 7-footer on the Lady Raiders? Yeah, and then shout out Soccer who made the Sweet 16, I think too. And so it is crazy. Everything's going really well. We'll see what baseball does this spring, but it's something that I think they deserve a lot of credit that they're not getting, and Joey's a big part of that too. So, well, I did want to transition us into the news of the day. The reason we're live again on a Monday night, we're not always live every Monday night, but boy, do we enjoy being live with you guys the last couple of times. It's a ton of fun being in the comments. And again, if you are new to the show and this is your first time, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify or Apple. We really appreciate your support. It's totally free. Helps us grow a larger audience of Red Raiders. But today, guys, you saw Texas Tech's vision play out of understanding they were losing David Bailey. They were losing Lee Hunter, and they were going to lose, and they lost some pieces in the portal at cornerback. Yeah. And so what did Texas Tech do? They went out and got Bryce Butler from Washington, Trey White from San Diego State, David Martin from UTSA, Julian Laventure from Akron, and those guys make up DL, edge, cornerback, and DL, and you're rumored for other guys coming in. So it's just crazy to see how this happened. Zyler, your thoughts on these four guys specifically? We touched on Sorsby and Romaine a little bit last night. We can get to them a bit too, but the new guys that officially committed today.
Yeah, I think a lot of these. I think Smith is potentially a starter. I think your way, like, and Butler, I think is potentially a starter. I think most of those guys are just really high level depth. That's not to say they're not great players, but I don't see, for example, I don't think LaVenture is a starter. I think he's a guy that you need to backfill because you lost guys like Braylon Rigsby. Martin, I think, is another depth piece because you lost Horn. I think Jones, the receiver, is probably a depth piece. Trey White, Bryce Butler, probably potential start. They're going to play a lot. Those guys are absolutely going to play. The big fish that are still out there, and we'll get to those in a little bit, though, I think are really still to come. And it's crazy how well you've already cleaned up in the portal compared to most programs. Some programs only have 2 to 3 commits at this point, and you're already sitting there with 8 and trending really well with other ones. And I thought somebody made this point earlier. Some of the best gets that you've gotten are guys that are coming back from last year's haul. Howard Sampson's coming back. Bryce Pollock's coming back. You're assuming Ben Roberts and John Curry. Those aren't transfers. You assume that Anthony Holmes is back. There's a chance Skylar Gill-Howard could be back. There's rumors that his medical waiver procedure is going well. That's not confirmed, but if he comes back, man, you're bringing back. I mean, you're running it back with the gang for the most part. Now you're losing some big pieces, but what you bring back from last year's portal haul is almost as impressive as what you brought in this year so far.
Well, and Bryce, I did want to touch on Bryce because we were so enamored with David Bailey, Lee Hunter, and then obviously some of the guys returning like Jacob Rodriguez and Baron Morton. But Bryce was a first-team cornerback, arguably your biggest addition outside of maybe David Bailey with what he was able to do in the secondary and just essentially be a shutdown corner. And he played great against Oregon. He played great against BYU, Utah. Like, this guy was a ball hawk as well, too. And the fact that he's returning, and then you've got guys like you mentioned, Curry, Roberts, potentially is Brendan Jordan. He's back.
Yeah, he's back.
Right. I assume he's back.
Yeah, I would assume Brendan's back. Chapman Lewis is coming back into the fold. And so
Peyton Morgan,
Anthony Holmes.
Yep.
So there is
Micah Hudson.
That's on the offensive side of the ball. On Micah Hudson and then obviously your running backs and Terrence Carter. And so it's not like you're having to completely reset this team that just went and dominated the Big 12. You're having to replace key pieces, of course, mainly on the defensive side. It is looking like, and if you are able to pull off Cam Coleman, you're going to upgrade at every position on offense you lost. I mean, Brendan Sorsby is better than Baron Morton. Cam Coleman's better than Caleb Douglas and Reggie Virgil. I mean, Terrence Carter's probably only going to get better. Jacoby and Cam Dickey, like just talking about it, man.
What are y'all doing on January 25th next year? Or you want to go to the national championship in Vegas? Or
I've already booked the trip.
We requested our media passes. We sent it
I've already. Reed Thomas, who I know did not go to Tech, but he said we should fire Joey and bring back Tuberville. I see we got some trolls in the chat tonight. I believe he is a talking toad.
Hey, Conrad, would you rather have Tommy Tuberville or Matt Wells as your head coach next year?
I'd stop watching Texas Tech football. Neither one of those options are great. I think, man, it's almost, it's something for us.
Quentin Joyner? Sorry, yeah. Shout out to Brahexo. Just totally forgot about that guy. One of the best.
Yeah, Quentin Joyner coming back.
Jacob, I appreciate that comment. I hope you shoot a coyote tonight. So he was, he was just at my house and now he's listening live to the Broadway Shuffle. So
I love it, man.
That.
But yeah, so Joyner too. That's a great point. And so you're looking at this team, and we're obviously loving what we're seeing. And like I think that for example, Trey White, like I heard Chris Level talking earlier today that he's like as good as David Bailey was at his age when David, not now, but like same age, same level. This guy's a David Bailey type. Now, you're not going to replace David Bailey. That dude's probably going top 3 or 5 in the draft this year. But
it's crazy how much his stock
has risen. I'll put this for example, I was on a show on Saturday morning and we were talking about David Bailey, and his pre-draft draft rankings on that day was 21st. 2 days later, this was CBS Sports, he's 3rd. Like
It's
he is
nuts.
like they are just flying him up boards.
So
So
let me ask you guys this. Speaking about David Bailey, and obviously Texas Tech historically has not been known for defensive prowess, right? Like that's not our calling card. Thinking about David Bailey compared to Tyree Wilson when he came out, who are you? Both great players, obviously. Who are you taking between those two? Maybe it's a little recency bias with
Oh,
David.
it's not
Y'all's
close.
thoughts
It's
there?
Bailey. It's Bailey. Bailey's
Bailey's
a
so much more
Okay.
athletic.
Yes.
much more refined pass rusher. He's not as big. Tyree was huge, but the big knock on Tyree was like he's a bull rush and he's incredibly strong and he's overwhelming Big 12 tackles. Can he scale that? And the answer so far has been like kind of. Bailey is much more refined, much more explosive, much more disruptive. And Tyree was a great player. He deserved to go top 10. Bailey deserves to go top 5. And I think
Yeah,
that's
and I think just seeing the athleticism jump off the tape that Bailey's like the passes that he's able to knock down and his feet are like 10 feet off the ground. Tyree Wilson didn't have that. So I would say
No, he didn't.
I would say Bailey for sure on that. But so you're looking at these guys, you're not going to necessarily replace him, but Trey White is a great addition for Texas Tech. And the defense is going to still be good. Are you going to be historically dominant? Maybe not. Probably not. But with Austin Romaine and these guys coming into, the defense is still going to be very good. And you've arguably already, just by adding Brendan Sorsby, improved your offense. So it's an exciting time. Let's get to Cam Coleman, because that's obviously the guy now that's on everyone's wish list. When it was announced he was in the portal, it wasn't a surprise with Auburn firing Hugh Freeze, but this is a kid that is on a Jeremiah Smith potential level. And I do think that with Brendan Sorsby, we would see him go nuclear. Zyler, odds of that happening in your mind? We don't have any inside source. I'm not saying that, but what do you think the odds in your heart of hearts that Cam Coleman ends up in Lubbock?
I'd say greater than 50%. Definitely not a sure thing. If you've read on Red Raider Sports, guys like Golan and Level have talked about, you are very much in this. You are very much in the hunt for this kind of player. And this would be, I think Sorsby shocked the world. Not shocked because everybody knew it was coming, but it's a big deal. You go out and get Cam Coleman. I mean, that is one, to just stick it to the Aggies and the Longhorns would make it so much sweeter. But he's like widely regarded as one of, if not the best player in the portal. And
him and Sorsby.
Yeah, I mean, those would be top 10. If you get him, Gregory, and so Gregory, Sorsby, and Coleman, that's 3 of the top 10 players in the portal. Now, those guys don't all pan out. We watched LSU last year take a ton of guys that were in the top 20 of the portal, and look what Barry and Brown did, and look what some of those guys, they were just non-existent. So it doesn't always translate, but he's a total freak. He'd be the best receiver you've had on campus, since Crabtree.
Yes.
And like I that is not hyperbolic. If you've watched Cam Coleman, he's unbelievable. And you pair that with Micah Hudson and potentially Coy Aiken and Bryson Jones and 4-star Chase Campbell, Leighton. You would have a nasty receiver.
And you've added Dante Lee out of Liberty, and you've added Jalen Jones out of Alabama State. Just depth pieces too. You did lose some stuff. Micah will be starting for you next year. I mean, Micah should be slotted in the start to stock. So you're talking about 2 5-star receivers. Are they from the same class?
They are
2023.
Yeah.
Coleman Smith, I think Wingo.
Yes, Wingo.
Hudson were all in that class.
Yeah. So you're talking about 2 of the best receivers from that class now on your roster starting for you. That's a talented bunch right there. And we haven't even seen what Micah can eventually turn into. I still think there's a lot of untapped talent there that Micah can fill once he gets his opportunity. And so, Conrad, that's something that's very scary for Texas Tech next year.
Yeah, it's something that, what do you do there? Like, how do you stop Cam Coleman, Micah Hudson, Terrence Carter, and then take your pick, Dickey, Jacoby, or Quentin Joyner out of the backfield? You throw Coy in there as well. You take Bryson Jones, Chase. And we would all say, and we talked about it on last night's show, we think the offensive line is going to be better. So you're telling me you've got a quarterback that's more mobile. You've got an offensive line that's better. You've got 3 running backs instead of 2.
I'm gonna have to go into the other room, Conrad. This is getting.
I don't even know. Like, what do you do? Like, this is incredible. And if you're still listening at this point and you haven't subscribed, make sure to do that. But guys, I think, I will say, we were this show was in its infancy when we started, or when Micah left, and seeing what Micah has become now, reading some of the things we've read, seeing him progress and do what he did against West Virginia, pairing him with a guy like Cam Coleman, I mean, you may have two absolute breakout superstars. And I've seen a lot online too. Like, why would Cam Coleman go to Texas Tech? It's like, oh, he's gonna go to Texas. He's gonna go to A&M. It's like, brother, have you seen Marcel Reed throw football? Like, the whole country has seen it, and it's not like
Totally.
he played at Auburn with horrendous quarterback play. If I'm Cam Coleman, I'm going to a place that I have a certified stud at quarterback. I'm not doing any of this. I don't care if it's $5 million. And again, this is easier for me to say. I'm not in this position, but I would assume that the money from all these schools that are courting him is probably not that much different. So thinking about, okay, where do you go? How do you factor in the offense? Who's throwing you the football? I definitely think Sorsby at Texas Tech is a much more attractive option than A&M, which from what I've seen, A&M does seem to be in the mix. Arch at Texas is a little bit different, but then again, Arch at Texas, you've got Wingo there. You've got, so you've got some different things, which you'd have Hudson here, but Wingo's more proven than Hudson. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it works out. But I don't know if Zyler, I think I'm probably higher than you. I think I'll probably say 65% that Cam ends up in Lubbock. Brennan, where are you? Are you going to be between
I was
me
high,
and
but
Zyler,
I was very high. But there's breaking news from the chat that Coleman doesn't like tortillas, and that might sway him away from Lubbock. So
See,
we'll have
that's
to
why
see.
Kirby 4D
Th-
chess
th-
banned the tortillas. He knew
That's why
Coleman.
he banned the tortillas ahead of time. They knew. They've been thinking about this a lot. I'm loving seeing some of the stuff on Coleman.
Yeah,
I
we got
think
to get to this, dude. It's
I think
hilarious.
fans are having a problem reconciling with the fact that Texas Tech's in the position to get Cam Coleman, and he is scheduled to visit tomorrow. There were some rumors that he canceled that visit. I'm not certain. I
Not
believe he's still very much going to be on campus tomorrow. And so, does he leave Lubbock? I don't think so. I do think you're at the moment where you've gotten a lot of dudes, and he's showing up, and you're going to say, "What is it going to take to keep you here?" And we'll do what we need to do. I've donated. I sold my house. When I heard Cam Coleman was going, we'll be moving out. I'll be doing the podcast from a coffee
a
shop.
storage unit?
Yeah, a storage unit in Lubbock. But it really is that situation, I think, for Texas Tech. I'm going to give it a 75% chance. And the reason I'm so high is because of what we talked about and who Texas Tech is. They are the kings of the portal. It's just a fact. Like, they're doing things that other programs are not doing. It's not a homer take to say that Texas Tech is going to do everything in their power to keep Cam Coleman in Lubbock and say, you're signing here today. And I do think that if anyone can do it, Texas Tech has proven the ability to do that. So I think these chances are very high because there's a position open, like Caleb Douglas.
Reggie
He's
Virgil,
gone. Reggie Virgil, they're gone. You say, Cam, this is going to be your show, and we're going to fill you with talent around the position group as well, but you're going to be our guy. And because we have so much talent here, you're going to get a lot of looks and a lot of deep balls and succeed. And then you're going to go pro and be a top 10 pick. And like, that's your pitch to him with one of the best quarterbacks in the portal.
I want to get to some of the comments, and I have a question for you guys about Micah related to this. Food Review 8082 totally dropped something that we missed. You also bring in 2 5-stars next year, Felix Ojo on the offensive line and LaDamian Guyton off the edge. So 2 pieces that we definitely overlooked there. A lot of stuff about Coleman. And then Gilbert Ortega talked about it. Where does Micah fit in the picture? I have not heard anything indicating that Micah is leaving. I think if Cam Coleman arrives and is in Lubbock, there's no way that increases the likelihood that Micah stays, correct? I mean, just thinking about it, like,
That he leaves or stays?
I think Cam Coleman coming would make it more likely that Micah leaves, even if it's not Cam Coleman's not going to push Micah out. But if I'm Micah, it's like I could probably go demand and be the number 1 at a lot of schools.
I think the situation, like Micah leaving, the drama that happened. The drama that happened at A&M, him coming back to Tech, I think he understands the position he's in, and I still feel like he wants to be here. The whole drama of him coming in as a true freshman, Joey hyping him up a little bit, it just felt uncomfortable and off from the beginning. Most people that are listening now weren't here when we started the show in August of 24. In our first preview episode, we had our over-under at Micah Hudson with 5 catches in that game.
In the first game.
Expectations were in the first game. He ended up with 8 all year, right? And so I do think that this is something that the expectations for him were really high year one, the drama of him leaving, coming back. I don't think he's interested in going anywhere. And I believe that Joey and the coaching staff has told him, like, you're still going to make a huge impact here. And we want you to succeed and be dominant here. And I think he understood and bought into that. And that's why he came back.
Yeah, and I think, you know, get into the chat, and please, like, while you're here, man, drop your questions. We want to get to those. We love engaging on stuff like that. And I think Brahexo, once again, he said Coleman could pick up some double team matchups, and Micah will cook. And I think that's what you would sell. And I think that's also what you sell Cam Coleman. Like, hey, listen, dude, you don't have to be the only guy here. We've got Terrence Carter. You could do this without Micah, but you can do it a lot better with Micah. We've got other receivers here. We've got other tight ends here. We've got a running game here. We're ready to go.
Can we get to the most recent question, please, though, real quick? Is Conrad's hair going to move at all? Conrad, does it blow in the wind, or is it?
You don't change something this perfect. It just is. It just is, Aaron. It doesn't move. It's never looked any different. You know that. So
it looks good.
Hey, man. And if Red Raiders, Aaron Newberry is sorry, I'll give your social later in the show, but he went to Baylor, and so if you guys want to give him a hard time in the comments, I know he'd appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll call you out here.
Another
go ahead.
He said something about USC with Cam Coleman. They did add, his name escapes me. I think it's Terrell Anderson from NC State.
Yeah,
Pete Nakos was talking about that on his show today. You know, y'all wonder. I consume a lot of content during the day. It is expected that they won't be in the Cam Coleman sweepstakes anymore after they add Terrell Anderson. So that's kind of the expectation from the recruiting circles. So it doesn't mean that they're completely out, but I think it's a 3-horse race, and it's the 3 Texas schools. And I think Alabama is also rumored to be in there, and you never want to count out the Crimson Tide.
But they don't have the NIL backing that Texas A&M and Texas Tech does.
You're right, but it is Bama. There's some allure there. Which
Saban's not there anymore. What's the allure?
What do you do if you're Ty Simpson this year? Do you come back?
So I actually think there's rumors that he might want to go to Oregon. Potential on the Dante Moore situation, that Bama might be looking to move to Keelan Russell, the kid from Duncanville here. Zyler, you've been requested to take off your hair too, or take off your hat so we can.
No. I've described my hair. It's not only is it thin, it's also straight. There's no volume. There's nothing going on here. The hat serves me much better.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Maybe by the end of the show, if it keeps getting hot in here with how we're talking about Tech's offense and future team, you might have to take it off. But so
that would be interesting, Brennan. That'd be really interesting.
Keelan Russell, the kid, highly touted kid from Duncanville. We'll see what happens there, and Ty might be moving on. Is what I've read up latest, in the big following that I do of Alabama football. We have an inside source with the Crimson Tide.
If you're Dante, you have to go to the draft, right? And you're mocked like 2.
Dude, we were talking about this last night, and if you're slotted to go to the Jets, I don't know if anyone's watched the New York Jets play football this year, and the dumpster fire that it's like the Raiders, at least they fired Pete Carroll and they're trying. The Jets, it's awful. And if Phil Knight looks at Dante Moore and says, dude, here's $6 million, $7 million, stay another year,
get an insurance policy,
or be there again next year.
But maybe it's the Cardinals or something. Like maybe they're, I don't know. I'm not certain in this era that it's an automatic lock to go pro, even if you're going to be a top 3-4 pick, because like I would rather play at Oregon than the New York Jets. I don't care if it's the NFL. Like that's where quarterbacks go to die.
That's like 45. It's like 40 something million guaranteed. I would go play for the Jets for 40. Like, I don't care. Let me get abused.
You'd get abused. You'll be fine getting abused for $40 million.
Yeah, like sign me up. I get abused for much less money than that right now. But I get what he's saying. Like, and I see where you're coming from. It's like, oh, I can make another $6 million next year and get the same deal the next year with a different team. Why not?
It's not guaranteed, right? Injury. I mean, I get that, but I just think that now it's more enticing to stay comfortable, play college football, continue to work on your craft. Like, look at Sam Darnold. He gets out early, goes to the Jets. He's in purgatory for most of his year. Has to find his way out to kind of become, a serviceable quarterback and a good quarterback. And so good quarterbacks can go to terrible franchises in the NFL
and get ruined.
And get ruined.
Almost.
And get almost.
Okay,
Yeah,
I mean, for example, look at what's going to happen with Kyler Murray when he goes to the Vikings this offseason. The dude's going to blow up.
But okay, so
Justin Jefferson will be relevant again. Like it'll all leaving the Cardinals. You know,
Sam Darnold went to the Jets and has made $102 million over 7 years. Like, I don't know that if it's just a financial thing, I don't know that he made a poor decision. Now, maybe you're thinking if I went somewhere else, maybe I actually signed like a mega contract like Trevor Lawrence or something like that. And now I've made, $300 million. So maybe there is that aspect, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it, but it's something too where in this era with players and the ability to maximize earning, like $5 million, $6 million, dude, at 20 years old, Dante Moore, like if you're smart, like you don't need 40. You can turn that into 40, if you've got people around you and stuff and that know what they're doing with money. I don't know. I think it's going to be really interesting to see, but I do think that this is one thing too, where you're seeing like a Brendan Sorsby,
Probably is day 2 grade.
Yeah, day 2 great, right? Like Dante Moore is a top 3 pick. Now, Brendan Sorsby's got a ton of talent and is a great college quarterback, but there are certain kids that have the ability to go and potentially change an NFL franchise and win a Super Bowl. And you can see that at 20, 21, 22. And so I get that it's a little different than a guy like Brendan Sorsby, who's going to be great and could be a phenomenal quarterback in the NFL.
Sorsby's going to be a first-round pick next year. All goes well. He will be a first-rounder.
I would think so too.
It is wild that he decided not to go because the draft class this year is so bad. I mean, it's just Mendoza and Moore, maybe.
Yeah, who would be the third quarterback?
I legitimately have no idea who would even be entertaining. Like, is it Nussmeier?
No. Yeah, because that's the fun. That's a funny thing too. Is that all the quarterbacks that we thought coming into this season, Nussmeier,
Klubnik,
Aller, Klubnik, Lenore Sellers to an extent. We all
undraftable.
They all had duds of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, what's happening?
Granted, Nussmeier played for Brian Kelly. Can we give him a little bit of a pass there? A small one. A little baby one.
Horrible. I thought this comment was interesting from J. Aaron 281. Micah couldn't get snaps in a mid wide receiver room this year, and he's going to be a stud all of a sudden. Your thoughts?
I think when you look at Micah, it's a lot more than just on the field stuff.
Meaning?
We're not going to get into all of that on the show. I will say what happened in his exit and what happened in his return and what is rumored to have happened during his time in College Station. The fact that he was here and just a really good teammate for a whole year and then blossomed in the West Virginia game. The talent's never been a question. It's been all the other stuff that has happened around him. By all accounts, he's a fantastic teammate. He's, the team has rallied around him coming back. The team did that, or he wouldn't have been allowed back, I would assume, just from our vantage point. But I think once he gets on the field, I think it was more off the field, and not that he wouldn't have played more, but I don't think this was a mid receiver room either. Those are my thoughts.
I think there's certain things and attributes when you look at a guy like Micah Hudson that you can't teach. And so that's why he's a 5-star. Not many kids are 5 stars coming out of high school. And so that essentially means that you think this guy could be starting in the NFL one day. He's just got the ability and the athletic opportunity to dominate the college game. And we haven't seen Micah do that yet. We all had very high expectations for him, but another year in the system to learn behind guys like Coy Aiken, Reggie Virgil, Caleb Douglas, who by all accounts are very mature kids that just want to play football. And so, sorry, I'm looking at the comment.
He's talking about me.
No, he's talking about me.
Who's got the big head?
It's me. It's me. Ben, I see you. I see you. No,
I'm sorry.
No.
I saw it. I was like, do I have the big head? Who's got the big head here on the show? But
thank you, Ben.
No,
I think in year 2 of a
scoot
system,
all the way back, Ben.
Yeah, scoot back. There you go. And then year 2 of a system, I do think that Micah can develop. Now, I have seen EH Steve say, I question the development of our wide receiver room under Johnson. I think the second time he said that. And yeah, I'll be honest that I do think the wide receiver room last year was a little underwhelming. Like you wanted to see a breakout kid kind of happen, and that kind of turned into be Terrence Carter, who's a tight end. So I think we were a little disappointed in the sense that Caleb Douglas and Reggie Virgil and they weren't winning a ton of one-on-one matchups all the time. And so that's something why you want to develop with Cam, but I do think Micah has that ability given the opportunity. He hasn't really been given the opportunity. Outside of the 2 touchdowns against West Virginia that Lloyd Jones threw to him during garbage time at the end of that game, we haven't really seen him. So I do feel like.
But is there a reason for that? I think that's the question is.
Yeah, does he know the playbook? Does he still have an attitude problems? Like, there could be a multitude of things that are keeping Micah back from performing. I don't know. I feel like the jury's still out. Let's see what happens the first 3 or 4 games next year. If something looks off, we can kind of decide then. But if you get a Cam Coleman, you can probably go with Micah not fulfilling his full potential. But I still think he will. I don't know.
I think you will.
That'll be the interesting thing, though. Like, so let's just play, because I believe, I definitely want to make that clear. And we probably talked about a backup wide receiver too much. The thing that I appreciate is I think that you've got enough bullets in the chamber that, let's say Micah, for whatever reason, doesn't develop, and he's just not that guy that you need him to be next year. I think you've got something in Bryson Jones. I think you've got something in Leighton Stone, and I think you've got something in Chase Campbell, that one of those 3 guys can step up and be a number 2. Even though you haven't really seen it, I think between Micah and then those other 3 guys, somebody is going to be good enough there. And I think that gives me it's encouraging to think about that.
Yeah, I agree. So, Z, looking at the portal haul so far, do you have a favorite guy that you've seen tape on so far that you would say is like, I can't wait to see this dude play in August?
I mean, Sorsby is...
Well, okay, sorry, not counting
outside of Sorsby.
Outside of Sorsby.
Yeah. I can't talk about anyone else except for Sorsby. Just because of how excited I am.
We are all very excited. What do we think of the Times Square Sorsby thing in New York City?
I think it's awesome. Have you seen how many people have been talking about that? It's great.
I think I saw
funny.
I think I saw some media outlet. I don't know if it was Fox or whoever it was, but put Texas Tech quarterback spotted in Times Square. It's just kind of crazy to see that happening. But go ahead so outside of Sorsby, favorite player we've added.
Just like a favorite as far as like what they can do for your team. I think Austin Romaine fills both a very important need and is also very, very good. Only player that's really graded out similarly to Rodriguez since 2024. He was a freshman All-American with Ben Roberts in 2023. Like, he's got everything that you need in that running back room. And by all accounts, I've never met the kid, but they said he should fit in well with Curry and Roberts. And that, I think, is really important. That room had a lot of cohesion last year. You're not going to replace Jacob Rodriguez, man. It was just, and he's one of 7 All-Americans that consensus All-Americans that you've ever had. You don't just replace that. And I recognize that, but that's about as good as you can get. So that's probably my favorite ad so far is Austin Romaine.
Conrad?
Yeah, I'm going to break a rule that you just laid down. Brennan Sorsby. I can't stop talking about it, guys. I've watched his high school tape. I've watched the Cincinnati tape. I even found some Indiana tape.
God.
Could not be more excited for what he does and how dynamic he's going to be. I truly think he's the most dynamic quarterback you will have seen since Patrick Mahomes. On what he can do with his legs, what he can do with his arm. Granted, there have been some forgettable players in that line. No disrespect to them as people, but there have just been some players that you'd rather not try out there. But he's a great player, and I think what you'll see him provide, I think you wanted him so much because of his leadership as well, because of the type of human being he is. And by all accounts, that's someone that you're going to rally around, that's going to lead this program. And in the one and done era of college football with so many players with their teams, that's really what you need, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And so excited to see that talent, the leadership, and everything that we've read about him come to fruition on the field next fall.
So you really think that Brendan Sorsby is more athletic than Jet Duffy? Like one of the best Tech quarterbacks to ever do it?
Yeah.
I think Brendan Sorsby on one leg, I'd rather throw him out there. So, yeah.
Dude, think about that. Just made me depressed.
Jackson Tyner.
Even joking about that, like the McLean
Jake
Carter.
Strong.
The McLean Carter Jet Duffy QB battles made me want to kill myself.
Yeah, I even joking about it made
not
me
literally
have
for everybody
PTSD.
that's listening. Zyler was not serious. No, it's not.
No,
literal.
I'm not serious.
Oh yeah, I guess you probably can't say that on a on
I
live.
You probably
shouldn't.
shouldn't
Maybe.
say that.
I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't say that. That was hyperbole.
Yeah, we're
Don't.
kidding. We're all happy here on the Broadway Shuffle
Yeah,
today, especially during
I've
this
never
portal
thought about that.
season. Yeah. I I just think that I do think that Brendan Sorsby, man, it's so hard not to think about how it's gonna look. I was watching. Oh yeah, we got Nick Simonek. Yeah, Kim Coulter. We don't forget Nick.
Kim, Brendan is so much better than Shimanek in my opinion. Shimanek's great. Like, don't get me wrong, Shimanek was really, really good. But I think Sorsby will be
Okay,
much better.
okay. This is actually a comment from Jeremy Ledbetter that this pisses me off about the college game, and he says I want to see Sorsby under center in some formations. And dude, I feel like the
Why?
creative. I agree. Like I feel like the
Okay.
creativity in college compared to some like play action passes you get in the NFL that you see, and also going under center, dude, when it's 4th and a half and a yard. Can we implement a QB sneak in college football? Like, why is that not a thing? I see it all the time where it's 4th and half a yard, 4th and 1, and you try to get into the wildcat, for example, like tech with Jacoby Williams, or you try
Yeah.
to get cute and you run an inside zone or whatever it is, or try to flick it out to the outside. I'm like, bro, can we not get under center at all in college? Like, why is that not a thing?
Okay, so one, and people that know better in the chat, please feel free to correct me. What I understand about it, the hard thing about being under center is if you do play action, you are turning your back to the defense, and then you have to whip back around and see what's happening. You have to diagnose a lot quicker than you do in shotgun when I can hand and I can watch the whole time. Now, the downside to that is when you are under center and your tailback is lined up like that, you can run anything. You can run a pitch play, you can run halfback dive, you can run through the A gap. I mean, you can do whatever you want. When you're in the shotgun, there's just not as much that you can do from a running standpoint. And so it doesn't pressure the defense as much, especially the safeties. Now, you're under center. There's a lot that can happen that stresses out your safeties a lot more. It's just harder on the quarterback. It's a lot more high risk, high reward.
So college quarterbacks just aren't good enough.
Generally speaking, you went away from that because it's harder and it's harder to get guys to do that. But that's why when they talk about NFL systems, it's like how often do you play under center? How smart are you? How quickly can you turn around and see, oh, okay, they were showing cover 2 and now we're in cover 1, or we were in quarters, or whatever that is. That's a lot harder, and it is harder to do.
Yeah.
You saw what the defense was at the snap, and then you turn around and hand the ball off, and then you got to turn back around if you fake it and say, what are they in now? It's harder.
Conrad, you were able to do it. It can't be that hard.
No. Hey, let me just stop right here for all the people in the comments. Would you not hire Zyler Buchanan and Brennan Baxter to be your offensive coordinators hearing this ball knowledge on the Broadway Shuffle on a Monday night? Would you
It's
not hire them?
I don't know if
no.
I just asked why we aren't under center. I don't know if my ball knowledge runs that deep. If I'm having, to
I
ask
don't
a
know,
question
man.
don't
I
know the
believe
answer.
No.
Look, I mean, it's something that it's a question to be asked, right? Like it's but it is hard to do. Like it is hard to do. And so I think Sorsby was in the hours upon hours of tape I watched on Sorsby these last 2 days. I saw him under center doing some things at Cincinnati that bode well for you. And I will say his athleticism that maybe Barron was hindered by just because of injuries and different things like that. You're prevented by doing those things. Sorsby's also really able to progress to check his progressions really quickly and to move through those 1, 2, 3 that maybe we didn't see to the level we would have hoped to see over these last few years. But I think that makes it to where maybe you can try some of those things more with Sorsby at quarterbacks. So we'll see if that happens next year.
I mean, watching, for example, Baron Morton against Oregon, where you were in shotgun and just staring down receivers and missing reads, it
Can we
didn't
move
necessarily
on?
bode well there either, necessarily. Too. And so I do think that it just opens up if you got an athletic quarterback like Sorsby that you can roll out, that you can move, that you could go.
Mhm.
It might be harder, but it also like Dante Moore got under center a few times. They ran some play action and did some different things. And I don't know. I just think that it adds a level of confusion to the defensive side because they never see it. And I'm more so talking about at 4th and half a yard. Like, can we
Yeah.
can we just run a QB sneak in college football? Like, I see it all the time where you're
Can
in
we run a
shotgun.
PA waggle that we
Yeah.
like to run on
Yeah,
Madden,
on NCAA, Madden,
Yeah.
whatever. So, anyways, that's an interesting point I saw in the chat as well too. So,
And if you're still here and you have not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a lot.
Hey,
yeah,
Reed Thomas has been begging for a Q&A, and he said, when will Conrad admit he was wrong about Morton? That's for you,
Next.
Conrad.
that's for you, Conrad.
Next.
Yeah, I mean, wrong in the sense that you
Yeah,
thought that you thought Barron would be all Big 12 level good, which you did. I
Conrad,
think
this is for you.
this is you. You're staying
Yeah,
silent. You got to
you're at the
mic it.
plate.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
you
can't.
can plead the fifth if
No,
you want to.
no. Look, I think there's a lot of things to consider with Barron, and I have been on record as one of the biggest Barron supporters and believers from day one, really, on this show. I don't know. I mean, yes, I just like all of us did, we criticized the performance against Oregon because that's the only thing you can do, unfortunately. Um, I think with Barron, I don't know that I was. I mean, did he turn out to be everything I had hoped he would? No. So in that sense, I was wrong. But do I still think he's a good college quarterback and that he meant a lot for Texas Tech? Absolutely. I just, I would just respond to Reed and say, how did Josh Hoover work out for the Horned Frogs?
Okay, we've got some Baylor fans in here. We've got some TCU fans in here. But yeah, that's it. It's fair, Conrad. And Zyler and I, by the way, for those listening to the chat, we were huge Will Hammond guys from the very from the very beginning. So
Those who were here from the beginning, you remember me and Brennan.
you know the crush that we have had on Will Hammond. No, I mean,
And that
we also,
subsided substantially, just
Yeah.
for the record.
I will say this has been interesting that on the Will Hammond thing quickly, and then I do want to get to Q&A. I think it would be a lot of fun here as we close the show. But Will Hammond is still very much going to be a part of this program. He's still going to be on the roster. He's not transferring. He could be ready to go week 1 as your backup if all things go well with his rehab. So I still think Will Hammond's got a good future at Texas Tech, and I would expect him to be your starting quarterback in 2027 if all things go according to plan. So Will is still a part of the picture as well too. But I do want to get I do want to get your thoughts, Z, on Baron Morton before we move on.
Yeah, I mean, he was good. I think he was like replacement level. And I don't mean that in a mean way from like his on-field production standpoint. And a lot of that was due to factors outside of his control. He was just hurt. He was hurt his whole career.
Yeah.
He played maybe 3/4 fully healthy his whole career. And that's a huge bummer for what was the highest rated QB signee that you've ever had. He's a huge what if player, probably the biggest what if player that you've ever had. What does he look like if he doesn't have the 2 shoulder injuries and then the ankle injury? So, but that's part of it.
I will never forget Conrad and I were actually playing golf together when Barron was playing Oklahoma State as a rookie, or excuse me, as a freshman. And we saw some of the throws he made and some of the things he was doing outside of the pocket. And we were like, dude, future is bright in Lubbock, man. And it's crazy to think of how long ago that was. And that was arguably maybe the best half of football that he ever played, was that game.
Yeah.
And he just could not stay healthy. But he is a Red Raider for life. I see a lot of people. Yeah, and my dad and I were having this conversation, Zyler, because you brought up that you don't think Barron will be in the Ring of Honor. And I was saying, I think Barron will probably end up in the Ring of Honor just due to the fact that he was the first quarterback to win you a Big 12, and he was 5 years. But on a stat profile, he probably wouldn't even compete. Like, he's nowhere near a Graham Harrell type level
but the
guy.
game's different. The
game is different. So I don't know. And there's someone in the chat saying, guys, Cam Coleman just committed to Texas. I don't know if that's we would need that fact checked by TTU 2026, but that might be true. I don't know. But anyways, I thought that was an interesting debate.
And if you're lying to us, we're going to block you.
Yeah, well, we'll have to shut the show down.
But yeah, we'll see.
I don't think that's real. But that is hilarious because you did make me talk for a little bit.
You made my heart drop for a second. He's lying. Okay, so whoever TTU, what a troll to enter in the chat here and just make our hearts drop for a second. We're having so much fun here.
It's crazy how easily gettable I am in moments like that.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, stop the conversation, but it's fake news. But yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see how Barron's legacy is defined in 5 years.
No way he's in the Ring of Honor. He doesn't have the stats to do it, right?
I would agree. I would personally agree with you, but I do feel like winning the Big 12 and having the year, but though it wasn't, obviously he led you to the Big 12 in the sense that he was the starting quarterback, but it's not like I don't know.
Does Sheridan Wilson go in because he was the starting center?
Well, that's okay. Yeah,
that's
it's
not
different.
Zyler, you know that's not 1-to-1.
Barron did not have any All-American, and I love Barron. I was very defensive Barron. He didn't have any All-American honors. He didn't have any really Big 12 honors. Like,
I
just like
agree. I agree
So,
with you. I just am curious to see how he's looked
it's
at.
like
Zyler, let me just pump the brakes right here real quick on this, and then we can move to something else in the chat. Zyler and Brennan were both, hinting, suggesting, recommending that maybe Will Hammond should be your starting quarterback at the beginning of this year. So let's just disregard their opinions when it comes to Baron Morton
okay.
and listen to somebody. No, 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 no. I'll mute you. I got the power. I got the power. Let's listen to maybe somebody that has while fairly been critical, has been a constant supporter. I think it has to be for the Ring of Honor. It's got to be more than stats because you're looking at something much bigger than what he did on the field, which was a good career. It was a good career. It was not a great career, but that good career culminated in a Big 12 championship game, in a Big 12 championship. None of those other guys, regardless of how good they were, how many touchdowns, yards, whatever they did, they didn't win that. Now, did they have the defense? No, they didn't. But you still have to go out there and not make mistakes. And Barron was the quarterback on that team. Barron was the leader along with J Rod of that team. Therefore, I would put Barron in. But then again, I love what he
Dude,
means
there's
for
no
Texas Tech.
way that's serious.
That's completely serious.
Okay,
I'll say,
Every
okay.
word.
Can I say
Every
that?
word.
Can I say this though on this subject? Because yes, he was your starting quarterback, but you could make the argument if Will Hammond doesn't go win you the Utah game, you're not playing in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, I'm also old enough to remember how below average Will Hammond looked in other games
Okay.
against worse
Here's
competition
But like
as
Barron,
well.
but
We
I'm
don't
just
have to
saying,
belabor
I'm
this
just saying
point.
Barron
I'm
did not go
fucking-
win you all 12 games, is all I'm saying. Like it's like he was obviously a huge part of this season. And I just don't know if he can be defined as like the guy that led you to the Big 12 championship. In my opinion, I would say that's more a Jacob Rodriguez and some of the guys on the defensive side of the
Bailey.
ball. Bailey.
Every criticism that Brendan and I had about Baron Morton was absolutely true for the whole season.
Yeah.
I don't think anything we said about him was wrong.
No,
And we never once said a
no.
bad thing about him as a dude. We just said like he is an average quarterback, above average quarterback. Like that's just a fact.
I just don't. And
He's better
like,
than Will Hammond, though.
I think that Will Hammond. I didn't. Okay, so when I made those comments, I didn't think our defense was going to be like top 2 in the nation. I thought you needed the rushing upside that Will Hammond provided for your offense. I thought your offense was going to have to be better to win the Big 12.
Agreed.
And it turns out
You were
they
right.
didn't. You didn't need
Weren't
a
we
better
fourth
offense to win the
overall
Big
in the country?
You needed no. You needed a better offense to go win a playoff game. Are you
If-
saying Big 12? You're just
No, I
speaking
thought
Big
your
12?
Big 12.
maybe if your defense was like top 15, top 20, I don't think the offense as good as they were this year would have been good. Like I know S&P Plus had them 4th. I don't really think that like FEI, kind of the more analytic site, had them 35th, which that to me on the eye test feels a little more realistic. Like, yeah, it's a good offense.
Yeah.
It's not serious.
I love this because I love listening to you guys, and then I peek over to the chat and someone says something that makes me laugh, and I'm trying to my best to listen, but I'm seeing hashtag bring back Cliff, and I'm seeing some things that are just making it's funny seeing it here. But I see what you're saying. So it'll be interesting to see. But and Brendan Sorsby, like coming in to fill the shoes and to see what he's going to be doing is going to be really interesting. But yeah, let's open it up to some questions. If you want to put them in the chat, we'll try to answer them here.
There was one that came in earlier, and I'm trying to find it. Thoughts on the Houston game tomorrow? This is the least scary the basketball team.
We do play basketball.
We do
still,
play
Conrad.
basketball. Yeah.
We do have a top 15 team.
Hey, how's Baylor's basketball team doing and TCU's basketball team?
TCU lost to New Orleans this year, but they did beat Baylor last night or 2 nights ago. So
Okay.
they're doing good.
How I'm feeling about the game is if Christian Anderson and JT Toppin are on the floor and LeJon Watts is playing as good as he's been playing lately, you got a chance to win. And I don't think this Houston team is nearly as good as last year's team.
I am probably let me look.
You said the most scary. You said the most
least
scary.
least scary
least.
Houston team.
I agree.
Let me look. I mean, it's got to be.
Hey, at 31x1 Collatz Z
Since
or
2020.
Collatz, is Cam still coming to Tech tomorrow? Yes, I will pick him up at 6:45 in the morning and deliver him to the Womble myself.
Conrad would lock the doors and not let him leave.
Yeah.
It'd be a hostage
But
situation.
yes, all reports indicate that he is still going to Lubbock tomorrow. The RR for life says, do we need to get a quarterback, a QB2 in the portal. You probably will try to add like a Mitch Griffiths, I would assume, as a depth piece with. You've got guys in the room, but I do think you might look to get another senior type.
There's a kid. Sorry, I'm trying
guy.
to find it real quick, Brennan. If you're on Red Sports, there was an article about it earlier. A kid named Trey Guerrera. I think it's a JUCO kid. So he'd be coming in. You just need a QB3. I imagine you will be rolling into the first game of 2026. Sorsby, Jones, and then portal kid. You're not going to make Stephen Cannon be QB3 or QB2 right out of the gate, and then Will Hammond will drop in there eventually.
Yeah, if we can't land Cam, who's our pivot? We need at least one stud wide receiver out of the portal. Z, you got any idea on who that could be?
There's a kid. His season just ended. He plays for Ohio State. His name's Jeremiah Smith. That's where we're going to turn to.
I knew where you were going. Ryan Williams.
Allegedly, you kicked the tires on him last year and said, "Hey, man, what's it going to take?" And
I remember hearing about that. Okay, Conrad, what time did you get to the stadium to watch Pat warm up?
I would get there. I did sneak into Pat's pro day though. So this is actually a story. And then I got asked to leave, and then I came back in the stadium the other day because I didn't have a hat on. So
I did not know that.
That's it. Yeah, it was actually I wore like a back in the Under Armour days when we were. That's another conversation for another episode. But I was looking all tech official, had the tech gear on, but I didn't have a pass. And so I was asked somebody was coming to look in, and I was actually 2 rows behind Pat's dad, and I was just sitting there. It was a windy day, and I got a tap on the shoulder and said, "Hey, do you have a pass?" And I said, "No, I don't." And they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have to ask you to leave." I said, "Okay." And I walked out of the stadium and walked around the other side, and the door was open. Walked right back in, sat on the home side, better view actually, and watched the whole thing. So it was a fun day.
That's a great story, man. I did not know that. So we've had a couple questions on Stephanie. Your new 7'1" center. I'm the worst guy when it comes to it. I'm going to try Okechukwu. How do you say your name? Is it okay?
Somebody needs to clip that and put that as a short.
Again. Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah, Stephanie Okechukwu. I'm going to say, I'm just reading it based off the chat. How do you pronounce it?
No, I don't.
I don't. I really don't know. I think the NCAA still has to approve her. It was the last I read. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be. But we'll see. I don't know. I will say I am interested to see that. What's more likely to happen? This is a great question. What's more likely to happen in the next 5 years, basketball or football national championship?
Ooh.
Can I take option 3?
That's from Jack Studebaker. That's a great question.
Dude, is it crazy? Is it crazy to say football? You've never won a playoff game. You've never even made the semifinals. It's basketball. It's got to be basketball. Never mind.
But think about it. Like, think about this. I don't know. Let's say you get in the same situation last year. You get a bye and you win. You're already in a semifinal. Like basketball, you do have to win 5 games to get to the Final Fours. Yeah, and so.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So even just getting to the Final Four, you've got to go 5-0. And so I think 4-0. So yeah, 6 games total. So. I don't think it's crazy to say football with where you're at and what you're bringing in. It's just more opportunity to get to it's easier to get to the national championship in football. Like it's hard.
I think it's harder to get to the national championship in football because it's March so hard. Like the playoff.
But dude, March Madness is so volatile. Like anything could happen. I mean, you were in a dogfight with
that plays in your favor. Like, are we ever going to be the preseason favorite to win the national title? Like, I don't think so in football.
No, I mean you'd never be the odds-on favorite, but would you ever be that in basketball?
But I think something crazy can happen in basketball, and I think,
but what's more likely?
I think it's more likely that you get a basketball one than a football one.
Yeah, I'm gonna say both.
I mean,
what a great answer.
That's a good answer.
That's a great question.
Yes, that was Jack. I believe Jack Studebaker. Great question, Jack. We will win meat judging first. I think we knock that out every year. Women's softball. Shout out to Nigel Candidate.
We'll win that next year.
That's a lock for 2026. Conrad, question for you here in the chat that I saw.
I'm not answering that.
Conrad, when did you take down the framed Colt McCoy poster over your bed?
Hey, I love Colt McCoy, man. Colt McCoy's one of the best people Great guy.
Jim Ned legend.
Huh?
Jim Ned
legend. Not too far from where I am right now. Colt McCoy's a great guy.
Over under Tech football winning 12 games during conference next year.
You only played 9 games.
You only played 9 conference games, so I think 9-0. That's from Jeremy. But I think if he's asking if you're going over, like odds of going 12-0 next season, I think they're pretty. I don't know, man.
It's so hard.
Yeah, but I mean, you were one stop away from that this year. You know, I don't know. I could see it with the Big 12. A lot of these Big 12 teams, TCU and Baylor specifically, are in the ground. They're just going downhill.
No,
fast.
they're below the ground.
They're below. They're 6 feet under.
Baylor is not trying.
No, TCU is not nearly as bad.
Baylor is back to where they belong.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. So I don't know. I think 11-1 is doable for sure next year.
Dude,
they're not losing a game next year.
TTU 2026.
Can we read the schedule?
Conrad does not know ball, and then he wants to come on as a special guest and debate you.
He didn't say debate me. It said special guest.
He inferred it.
I think 11 wins is definitely doable. I saw a couple more up here that I wanted. If Cam wants to be the best chance. Okay, so that was about Cam Coleman again.
Wait, so we've got. Let me read this. Tell me, we're gonna do this right now. It's January 4th, 5th. I'm going to read you the schedule for next year of the opponents we play. Abilene Christian at home, at Oregon State, Sam Houston at home, Baylor at Baylor. Cannot wait for that game. At Cincinnati, Brendan Sorsby homecoming. At Colorado, At Oklahoma State, Arizona at home, Arizona State at home, TCU at home, Houston at home, West Virginia at home. I'm going to go ahead and say it. 12-0 next year. No questions asked. 20+ points in every single game.
Man, making that projection 3
January
days after
5th.
the season ends, but I like it.
Prophet asked, do you think our offense or defense will be better next year? That's a pretty easy offense for me. I just think your defense was so good this year. It's going to be hard to replicate that.
I agree. Retired Red Raider also asking, will Texas Tech lose any football coaches this offseason? You've signed Leftwich and Shieldwood to extensions. Looks like you've got everyone back in the fold, so should be good to go on that end.
I mean, you may lose, and you signed Kenny Perry, so maybe
I mean, Johnson's staying at the wide receiver. I mean, maybe some other position coaches, but in terms of, you know, obviously your coordinators there, it seems like you're good to go. Let's see what else does.
Which game do you think will be the hardest next year? I think it's going to be either Arizona at home, Colorado on the road, or TCU at home.
It's not even a question. It's Abilene Christian.
No.
You got to get over the demons of 2 years ago.
I want to win 100-0 just to make up for what we had to go through.
Oh, here's a good one. Is Sorsby a Heisman candidate for next season?
Totally.
1,000%.
I would say yes.
He will get bets for sure.
Yeah, I think that for sure. That's a good one. Let's see as we get ready to close this a little bit too.
What's our confidence level on Cam Coleman? 100%. He'll be.
Yeah, we had got to this a little earlier.
Conrad has upgraded from 40 to 65 to 100.
No, it was 65. I started at 65 and then I went to 100.
Okay.
There was one more I wanted to get to up here. Let's see. Where
Conrad, why was your favorite high school receiver and why was it Coleman Sampson?
I don't understand the question.
Your favorite high school receiver? Maybe you've forgotten all those kids you were throwing the ball to. It's Coleman Sampson, just another.
I didn't play in high school, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay, and you're gonna have to be more specific.
TTU 2026 says, "Let's crush Abilene by one single point, like we've done before." I'll say this, man. Another genesis story of the Broadway Shuffle, but when we had started this show, our first game that we were prepping for was Abilene Christian, and we were feeling really excited about the game and the season. And I think our second ever episode, title, the reaction to that episode was, "Is the sky falling on Texas Tech football after winning by 1 point over Abilene Christian?" So look how far we've come, man. In just a little over a year, the answer to that question was no. And it is just, but it is crazy to think that that game was just a year and a half ago. Like that's really,
Oh, I know.
that
Okay,
is kind of
and
wild
we've
to
talked
think
about this. Think about if that North Texas team, if that team existed last year, you barely beat Abilene Christian, you get crushed by Washington State, and then North Texas comes in and beats you by 25 at home. And there's a world where McGuire gets fired.
If you started 0-3, I think for sure. If North
Yeah, but
Texas came in and smoked you,
Yeah.
Why
And
would
it's
we
like-
even talk about that?
I'm
We're
just
not
saying
there.
it's just crazy how like things have changed so much within a year, and that's what college football can do. So I think
TTU 26, you need to reveal yourself.
Yeah.
Conrad, did you have any classes with Mahomes? Did you stalk him in his class schedule back in the day?
No.
No.
Funny
No.
story about the ACU game. Sorry, I want to go back to this. We had I know a couple guys on staff, and he said, "Hey man, like we'd love to show you around the new South End Zone. Why don't we just make it the week 1 game? Should be pretty chill, relaxed. You guys can come down on the field during the game." And then obviously what transpired there with Abilene Christian, and so we still got to go on the field. It was the most awkward field and coaches press box experience I've ever had. Like went up there, nobody's happy, everybody's mad. The weirdest entrance to the South End Zone that I've ever experienced. It was very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it just felt like I remember Chris Level putting out a video like, "It's okay. We're all right. You get out with a win," but it just felt like, dude, this is not good. Like this just isn't good. And I think it speaks to how quickly things can change in college football now. And thankfully, Texas Tech has benefited from that greatly the last year and a half. But yeah, where we've come from, especially just on this show alone since we started, that was our second ever episode reacting to that. Don't go back and watch it, please. Just stick with us now.
Ooh, good comment here. Old Texas Tech man 9144 going to Oklahoma State next year. That is going to be a much tougher game than it was playing the Cowboys in Lubbock this year.
No.
That's
Eric Morris, Drew Mestamaker and company. That'll be interesting.
Bryce Pollock gets 2 picks off Drew Mestamaker.
They're going to be.
You want to have the
no
conference
way
conversation?
there's just
What
no
he's
way.
going from, what he's going from, to what he's going to. Woo! Okay,
But I'm
we'll
just
see.
saying what OSU was to what they'll be next year. There's just, I mean, they were
Oh, yeah.
historically bad.
I mean, yeah, they'll be
They'll be
a little
better
bit
than they'll be better than they were last year, but that
They
doesn't
may
mean they're
win
going to
one
be
more
good.
game.
Yeah.
They may win one more game, but doesn't mean we're not
So-
going to win by 50 plus.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man. It's so fun seeing. I'm looking at news too on if when Cam Coleman might be coming in, but man, that guy
Here,
whoever that
stay
was-
with us for another 15 minutes. He's going to be joining the show, and he will be committing live on the Broadway Shuffle. The check will be presented. Everything will be happening right here from the show.
Well, that would be something. Should we just reach out to his camp right now and see if we can get him to?
Yeah, I've already sent them the invite. He'll be
Okay.
coming on here
We're just
shortly.
waiting. We're just waiting. One thing too that one guy that we're hoping to get on this offseason for our fans. We've had on a lot of great guests here on the Broadway Shuffle. President Skuvanek, Dusty Womble, Baron Morton, Jacob Rodriguez, all the guys this year. But we will be working very, very diligently for one guy that tore his ACL that's not named Will Hammond this offseason. We're going to do everything we can. If you can, you really see? You don't know who I'm talking about?
Oh. It's like, who in the world tore their ACL? It wasn't Will Hammond. Yeah, that would be electric. I cannot
We're-
imagine Conrad stuttering, and it's going to be great.
Mr. Mahomes, I would love to know about your time at
Stop. There's a lot behind what Brennan just did that all 173 of you have not, or not. Maybe 3 or 4 of you are ready to. But he was. Yeah, we'll just talk about that later. That's not.
But that's what you would be doing, man. I don't know if you'd be able to control yourself if when we do have. Pat
Dude,
Mahomes
I would
on
be
the show.
completely. Man.
Yeah. Well, man, that was a ton of fun.
Yeah, Ben Noah, he had a funny question. Then we'll close here in a second. I know we've gone super long. We said
we're not gonna
25 minutes.
acknowledge Ben Noah's question. We're not gonna acknowledge whatever Ben Noah said. I'm gonna screen these questions.
No.
because
It's a good question. He said, "How do you guys try and get people on the pod?" And it's actually a lot easier than you think. we go to White Pages, we find their address, and we send Conrad there. He knocks on their door. And he says, "Hey, would you like to come on the show?" And so Conrad travels a lot. But
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of mileage on the cars, man. We do what we can. That actually is a good question. It actually started with a lot of Instagram DMs early on. Our first ever football player we had on was CJ Baskerville, the safety from last year. Yeah, I think Ben, who has been trolling us,
it is an actual question.
he goes, it was an actual question. I think he actually wanted to know. Maybe not, but we're gonna answer anyways. And so, with a lot of DMs, and it was eventually worked out where we were able to get in contact with Texas Tech and do some fun work on interviews for the athletic department there in the football team specifically, which has been a lot of fun. So
yeah,
it
Matt
did start.
Dowdy. I mean, we shout out Matt. I mean, he's been instrumental.
Matt Dowdy's fantastic. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. But it did start with a lot of DMs. In fact, one story is Baron Morton and CJ and some guys were out at a bar in Dallas. And I have no problem sharing this story. And I had got word that they were at it. This was during the bye week last year when they were 5-1.
Stop. What Brennan's about to say does not go on record because it could be categorized as stalking, but we're not gonna categorize it that way. So Brennan, continue.
Investigative journalism is what we're gonna call it. I had gotten word from a friend that they were at a bar in Dallas during their bye week, and make of that what you will. We did end up losing at Baylor the next week by like 25 points, and I said, "Hey, well, keep them there. Let me know. I'll be there in 20 minutes." And I went and was able to speak to Baron and see CJ and be like, "Baron, would love to have you on the show." And he never responded for about months. And then Matt Dowdy in Texas Tech was like, "Hey, we'd love to have Baron on." And Baron came on the show, and we eventually got it done. But it did, we left no stone unturned, man, for a while. So
that was
okay. Who would win in a fight? Micah or Marcel Reed?
Marcel
Red Raiders, man.
Anything.
Yeah, Marcel Micah would win that easy.
Could you imagine being an Aggie and having to talk yourself into the fact that Marcel Reed could potentially maybe be a good quarterback next season, all off season? That'd be really hard.
I saw a guy seriously tweet. He said, "Would you, if you're Cam Coleman, you can go play for a kid who's all about the money. You could go play for a diva down in Austin, or you can come play for a real quarterback, Marcel Reed." And it's like that was said with no sense of sarcasm. Like that was a serious sentence, and that blows my mind.
Yeah, I know. I was actually kind of getting turned around on Marcel here in the middle of the year. I thought, hey, maybe he really is legit. And
that bottom tier SEC schedule just really did something for you, huh?
It did something too. Okay, final question from Airways to Fairways. Our friend Jet Buchanan there. Over under Micah has 900 yards this year. I'm going way under that. That's 900's a lot. I mean, is Micah going to be a 1,000-yard receiver in 2026? I can't.
I mean, Conrad thinks we're going 16-0. It's really not that many yards per game. So I'll back my brother, and I'll say over. If you haven't, man, go subscribe to Airways and Fairways. Fun little channel. We'll be doing stuff with them, hopefully in the future.
Yes, and a very exciting YouTube channel where they travel around and play golf via private jet. It's a luxurious channel that everyone needs to subscribe to.
We're actually about to enter into an agreement where the Broadway Shuffle. We don't have Air Force One. We don't have Raider Force One. We have Shuffle Force One.
That was the most uncomfortable statement you've ever made. That was. Can we delete that? Can we?
Hey, it's gonna happen. It's gonna.
Too bad we're live. We can't. Yeah, one day. TTU 2026. I would love to sponsor you.
Hey,
probably not after that comment. I don't know. But
yeah.
Man,
okay, we got to end before we start telling horror stories from other times in our life.
Yeah, this will only go downhill. But man, tons of fun. Thank you all for tuning in and commenting. This has been a blast. It is so.
I cannot believe you said Shuffle Force One. Are you serious?
That's gonna be a meme. But I do think that I lost my train of thought. I totally lost my train of thought. Let's get out of here, man. Thanks for everyone tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday. At some point, we're going to get to real important news here on the Broadway Shuffle. We'll be back Thursday, but we appreciate all of you guys. If this is your first time tuning in, And before Conrad's comment, just feel free to subscribe, support the show. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure to tune in on YouTube as well too. But we appreciate all of you. This was a blast, and we will see you guys next time on the Broadway Shuffle.
Thanks, guys. It was a blast.